All right, the time is 4:01. I will call the Plan Commission meeting to order on Tuesday, June 24th, 2025, in person and via Zoom. Roll call, please.
Council Representative Schultz,
Here.
Commissioner Ciccarelli,
Here.
Commissioner Kesenik,
Here.
Commissioner Scholl, I do not see, Commissioner Huff, Director of Public Works Naven,
Here.
Manager Houseman.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, on to new business. We have review and possible action relating to the minutes of the June 10th, 2025 Plan Commission meeting. Any questions from the Plan Commission on those minutes?
I wanted to add some detail to the minutes because I didn't feel that it completely nearly captured the issues I raised. They weren't weren't contentious issues, but I feel like I raised questions that the public might be curious about. And the summary was very top level and had none of this detail. To save time, I have suggested edits that I can pass along. This has to do with the proposed multi-use building in Clement Business Park. And I asked about several things, specifically the signage on the front and back facades, connections to Milky Drive, good to see the pedestrian walkway, and also just a question as to whether Commerce Parkway was envisioned to be continue to be the only access for the business park. Mr. Drager addressed all of those quite satisfactorily, but none of that was captured in the minutes because this is the minutes function as a public record and might be browsed later by someone curious about it, including someone who might potentially be another tenant of the business park. I think it's important to capture such detail without going overboard. So I can pass those along.
Well, why don't we not take action on those minutes tonight? You can pass those along to Clerk Ebert.
Well,
And then we will put them, incorporate them into the minutes and bring these minutes back to the Plan Commission for review at our next meeting.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, item 3B. Review and possible action relating to site plan review for a parking lot at Crown of Life Christian Academy located at 535 Berea Drive. This is site plan review dash 2025-11. Mr. Drager, please.
Good afternoon. So yes, I said this is a proposed parking lot expansion at the Crown of Life Christian Academy. This was part of their original plan with the site. For various reasons, they did not move forward with it at the time, but they have come to the realization that they are in need for an expansion of their parking areas for added staff and overflow for events and visitors for a variety of reasons. As you can see, this is the site as it is today. That's what's up on the screen. They have currently they have 65 spaces, and the plan is to increase the total amount available to 127 in two different areas. One is expansion of the existing parking lot to the south, as we can see here, the lightly shaded area at the bottom, and then also an overflow parking area to the east side of their entrance drive. There's also a path that would be going through from the parking lot expansion through that lower area. There was some points brought up by engineering to make sure that that path is not at an elevation that puts it at risk of being underwater. So that was something that was brought up during review. Here we'll see some grading, elevation plans, and the site stormwater management. That's an existing soccer field to the north. Here we can see some of the stormwater management as well with some inlets. There are some points brought up for erosion control and mostly construction site erosion control that are in the notes there. That will be part of staff recommendation later on. Some of those are breaks in those retention areas, silt fencing, just designating those areas. They do note on their plans that they're going to follow standard practices, which is nice, but some of those should be detailed on the plan It would be part of the recommendation. But overall, the proposed plan is meeting the ordinance for parking lot expansion. The only of the expansion parts and the new area are susceptible to review. The existing area does not have to make any improvements. They're meeting landscaping requirements for the new area. The only point of question on this proposal that staff has put in the memo there was for a possible proposed option of a park or of a playground, excuse me, near the expansion parking lot or the overflow. There is the last plan set on the packet. We'll have that parking or that, yep, it'll be the one right after these here. That will have that proposed playground. There's two ways to view this. It is by ordinance not permitted. It is in the front yard, but one could also look at it as the way the lot is configured. It is a bit odd. Another point to be brought up is the proximity to that playground and the neighbor directly to the south's backyard. There are two options to consider during the discussion. You could waive the accessory setback for the playground because of the unconventional lot, or not permit the playground because it does not meet the accessory structure setbacks and its proximity to the neighbor to the south. A couple areas to consider when reviewing this. Playgrounds do tend to be noisy. One neighbor may not care, another neighbor may. So just wanted to bring that up in the discussion as far as that. But overall, like I said, it meets the ordinances for the city. We would, one recommendation from the staff or city staff would be to waive the requirement for a parking study as determined by city staff. Waive the requirements for curving along the western and southern edge of the expanded paved area because the approach matches the existing configuration. And I do believe that their parking lot sheds into that southern portion for stormwater management. So this would be aiding in that. Require the applicant to place the proposed playground in a location that complies with the city's zoning ordinance. Staff feels that that playground is proximity to the resident to the south is a bit concerning. Require the applicant to submit an updated erosion control plan. Just submit that to city staff for approval, and require the applicant to submit universal soil loss equations to the city staff for approval. Those are standard. They can be done at either time during this review process or before a permit is issued, but those should be provided to staff for review. I would welcome any other questions that you may have.
I've got a question about the playground. So I have been by this. There's an existing playground already, correct?
From what I understand, they use the parking lot for a lot of their playground area, and then right where this where this expansion of the parking lot is some of their playground area. They do have stuff out there. It's kind of scattered throughout the site.
I think they have a playground on the north side of the building, by
They-
the soccer field.
They have a soccer field and play area back there. Yeah.
Okay.
When reviewing the site, I felt that there was opportunity for an additional playground to the west of the building. That there was other areas that would be more appropriate for a playground, or at least a fully established playground.
I also had questions about the playground location and not knowing the rest of the site. The triangular area to the east of the existing parking lot seemed like a more opportune area for a playground. It's further from the residential. It's one crosswalk versus two crosswalks away from the school that it would be associated with. And so I just questioned whether that had been considered. I noticed there's a water main going through there, but I don't think that's a showstopper for a playground. Also, the crosswalk to the proposed playground goes across the main inbound driveway entrance. And I was wondering if that was keyed to the new playground proposed location, and whether if the playground were elsewhere, the pedestrian connection to Berea Drive and to the nearest non-school service street could be on the west leg of that T intersection at the base of the parking lots. So a couple questions.
Yeah, I'll start with your first one. The playground, we did not see any proposed plan for reviewing or for putting it in that area to the middle. That area is reserved somewhat for stormwater retention. It's a dry pond area, but it does collect overflow. So once again, same thing with the path and elevation, you know, not wanting to take away from its ability to retain that water. Once again, it would also be in the front yard still, which is a point that's brought up for not approving it in this location. It's still in the front yard. So those were a couple things that when staff was reviewing considered. As far as the crosswalk, I think that is actually, to be sure, I'm not sure if it was proposed in the earlier part. I associated it directly with the playground, but it would be a nice addition to connect a path from the main walking area and sidewalks from the city into there.
I'm looking at an aerial photo right now on the Jefferson County GIS website, and there is a path that goes from the front of the building and the east side of the building that crosses through a crosswalk to the main parking lot, and then there's another path, another crosswalk north of where we're here,
Mhm.
and that trail exists already.
Correct.
Right,
Yep.
and then it does have a crosswalk across that main access point and then connects to the public sidewalk on Berea Drive that connects to the public sidewalk on Montclair.
Very good. Yep.
It does not, however, connect on, there is public sidewalk on the west side of Berea Drive that is stubbed right where it shows on that,
Mhm.
on that plan. It does not currently extend um, into their site.
In my experience as a pedestrian designer, inbound traffic is often impatient. Outbound traffic less so, and it's constrained by the tighter turning movements coming out of the south end. I think that's the south end of the parking lot.
Mhm.
On the flip side, there are three ways out of the south end of that parking lot. So there's a little bit of negotiation going on between drivers leaving the parking lot at peak times. I'm not sure how that translates into more or less conflict volume for a potential crosswalk on the west leg. But that's just the kind of things I think about when I look at crosswalk location relative to especially high peak activity parking lots.
Very good. Yeah. I mean, I think a true connection would be pretty good. Um, as you're pointing out, I think a connection on the west portion there would be possible, but there would be some sidewalk addition that would have to happen there. Um, that path currently existing, but once again, the playground would increase that volume of traffic coming across that way there as well with the crosswalk, existing or not. It does increase the amount of children activity coming across that lane.
And when we think of a playground associated with a school, we think of it as being under active adult supervision, but it's not always. And there are kids that'll take it on their own initiative to cross when they think it's safe to cross. So it's a consideration to visualize the playground in all its possible uses, including at times when it's not adult supervised.
Jed, do you know, would the playground be fenced in?
We did not see any plans for fencing there.
All right.
It's a large private area. I should, you know, lack of better terms for it. I don't propose that they would have a plan for fencing there.
Okay, because that was another thought I had was, you know, other playgrounds, school playgrounds in town are certainly accessed by residents after hours. Is that something that they're expecting could happen? And
Yeah, we didn't discuss whether there would be public access to that or not. It's on a private property that would be their decision.
I guess I would agree with, it seems like there's a couple other opportunities for better locations.
Yeah, given that it's an accessory structure and that it's in the front yard, I think that, which is prohibited by the code, I think I would lean towards not just having them expand or, expand their location search on the site for additional appropriate or other appropriate locations for that proposed playground. I guess I have a question on, I just want to be clear on um, the, the erosion control, requirements. And I noticed that we have a requirement for a gravel tracking pad to be labeled and installed, by the disturbed areas. I just want to be clear on that, that's not requiring the removal of any sort of concrete or asphalt surface to put in a gravel tracking pad for that. It's just in addition to what's out there, we would want the gravel tracking pad by the disturbed area so that the trucks their tires can clean off a little bit in the gravel before they go on to the paved surface. That is the private paved surface on the connection to Berea Drive, but then also onto our public streets, which is really what we care about.
Correct. Yep. And there are options other than gravel tracking pads that they can use. There's synthetic ways that they can do mats that assist in knocking some of that dirt and debris off before it enters the public street.
So as long as their erosion control plan met the standards in our codes, we would
Correct.
be fine with it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. There would be we wouldn't ask for them to remove asphalt or anything like that to do that. It would essentially be doing the same thing at that point, removing asphalt and then creating a tracking pad where they're already removing or trying to add asphalt. So
Yeah.
that tracking pad would be before the existing portion would be the last thing removed prior to them paving that section of the parking area.
So they're going to be putting gravel base anyway.
Correct.
Yeah, okay, I get it. Thank you, that makes sense. And you said do you recall, and I'm sorry, this is not a fair question to ask you on the spot, but do you recall when this was originally developed? Was this under our current zoning code? Or was
I
this under the previous zoning code?
do not believe this was under our current zoning code. I think this was designed prior to that.
Okay. Thank you. That makes sense just with the amount of landscaping that's in the parking lot.
Correct. Yeah.
But I'm glad to see that the new area, the new parking lots meet our requirements of
Yes.
landscaping.
Yep. And
Thank you.
I'll say that the engineering firm that's doing this is well acquainted with our current zoning requirements, especially when it comes to landscaping and erosion control and stormwater management. So we're not, the staff report is not meant to point out that they aren't going to do some of those items. It's just asking that they detail them for us, just to be sure.
I have a question about the Lightaliers in the parking lot, especially since the parking lot is proposed to be expanded toward the residential area. I noticed that there are some Lightaliers to be relocated, and there was a lot of detail provided in the staff report on the specifics of the technology. I wonder if you could speak to the light patterns, especially along the south edge, and attention that might have been paid to minimizing the amount of light spill into backyards adjacent.
As far, I guess, are you referring to the foot candles that are leaving or not leaving the site?
Tell you what motivates me. I have a house at corner of Jefferson and East Sherman, and We Energies owns a streetlight on the southeast corner of the intersection, and it's a definite factor at night sitting on our front porch. I reached out to one of the city's electricians. He pointed me at We Energies and said they'll try and get them to loop back with me. So I'm like probably other residents with streetlights may have issues with light going where it wasn't intended to, where it's not part of the function of that Lightalier. So it raised the question for me when I looked at the parking lot illumination plan.
Gotcha. So yeah, just to build on that a little bit, we have specific requirements for the number of foot candles that can leave the property, the height of your lamps, and that they all need to be downward facing and directional. So they can't be broad spectrum.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I do see that on page 26, there is the photometrics plan that shows the light. And I believe the foot candles as they go south towards the property lines are at 0.18, I believe, is the highest there when it hits off of the property line.
Mhm. And we also look at the average of the whole site too, as well.
Okay, other questions for Mr. Drager from the Plan Commission? Okay, discussion amongst the plan commission relating to the site plan review for this parking lot expansion. Is there any discussion?
I hear other members and city staff expressing concerns about the playground location and urging that additional exploration be done on site, and I certainly concur with that.
So as the staff recommendation is currently written, it does include a condition of approval that says require the applicant to place the proposed playground in a location that complies with the city zoning ordinance. So that meets my my intent on asking for a different location.
Yeah, just to build on that for the staff recommendation, the playground itself has to meet ordinance and location to our zoning codes, but it does not require a special permit to be put in as its permitted use. So that was the reason for not requiring it to come back to this body.
So it can be located in a rear or a side yard.
Correct.
Okay, and it's just, it's the location on the site plan in the front yard that would require action by the plan commission to allow that.
Correct.
Okay.
Can the rest of the applicant's submittal go forward with the playground issue split off?
I think what we would do is just include that condition in of approval that they find a different location, because the playground itself doesn't need to come to plan commission. But it does need to meet the zoning ordinance. So, and that would be in a rear or side yard.
That sounds fine.
If there is no further discussion amongst the plan commission, I would entertain a motion to approve the site plan review for Crown of Life Christian Academy expansion of their parking lot, subject to the conditions, the 5 conditions outlined in the staff report. And that is waiving the parking, or waiving the requirement for a parking study, waiving the requirement for curbing along the western edge of the expanded paved area to match the existing configuration, requiring that the playground be in a location that meets the city's zoning ordinance, requiring the applicant to submit an updated erosion control plan for city staff approval, and requiring the applicant to submit a universal soil loss equations to the city for review.
So moved.
I'll second.
So we have a motion from Council Representative Schultz and a second from Commissioner Kesenick. Are there any other questions, comments, final thoughts on this matter from the Plan Commission?
I guess my only question is, when we respond back to Crown of Life, like clearly defining what we consider the front. It is a very unique location, but I'm kind of curious how that will be detailed, but would it have to be flush with the front of the facade? Anyway, I don't want to go into too many detail, but just hoping that is clear to them so that if they want to propose something else, it's, agreed upon between the city and them.
Yeah, in general, the front yard's, between the building and the public street. As to your point, the configuration of the building does make that a little difficult to determine. Would you like to, where I would determine that?
Sometimes for accessory structures in codes, specifically for larger lot type of things, it's 100 feet, right? So it would be 100 feet, the front would be considered 100 feet back. So you wouldn't necessarily have to be behind the principal structure, but you would have to be 100 feet back from the front property line. So I don't know if that specific thing is in our ordinance, but I have seen that in many ordinances before for accessory structures to accommodate for these types of larger lots. So, but
There are some interpretations to that, and I'll have to dig and see what there's an exact number to that setback. That would make it very convenient for staff review for sure. But there's a variety of ways to look at this, depending on neighborhood location. It is a single access point. The lot specifically, without knowing the width of the entrance coming in there, may not even meet current zoning requirements to create the lot. So there's a variety of ways to look at that. I think to Manager Hausman's point, we'll look and see what that actual distance may be, and then make a determination in staff that may or may not include the western portion of the front yard of that building as an appropriate location, as there would be a large parking lot in the way of any, and quite a bit of a setback. I think more to the point of this one is the proximity to the neighbors and how it's right up front, and most definitely what would be considered the front yard.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, there is a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor of approval, subject to the conditions, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the review and possible action. Oh, I'm sorry. We have a presentation relating to site plan review for signage at the Fort Atkinson School District Schools and Administration Building. So Jed, we didn't talk about this before, but you're going to present all the signs and then the Plan Commission can take individual action on each one. So we'll have discussion on each one. Well, maybe we'll have the questions for Mr. Drager all together and then discussion on each one before potential action on each sign. So.
Yeah. So yeah, in consideration of time and efficiency and how they're all one applicant, thought a presentation of the whole, as the whole project would be appropriate. However, since they are at different locations, we also thought it appropriate to have different, separate action item for each location. And with that, I'll start off with the school district as a whole is proposing new signage for the whole district with the 11 new signs, majority of which are dual post signs or monument signs, and then several on-wall signs. These are all at the district office. So the district office and Luther Elementary are technically on the same parcel, but they do not share an address. They have different separate location address. Then also Berry Elementary, the middle school, Purdy, and Rockwell Elementary, all with new signs. As you can see in the packet, they are very consistent with their signage, all with a slightly different, some of them have the same dual post signage as you can see there. The Berry, I believe it is, no, excuse me, Luther and the middle school have existing sign bases of brick that they are formatting the signs to fit into those existing ones. All the signs are meeting our basic requirements. There's no lighting proposed with them. They're all standard unlit signs, decals on both sides. And then I just lost my train of thought. But anyways, some of them, oh, excuse me. Yeah, the main thing pointed out in our review was the proximity to them and the street. Some of the signs do not, or none of the signs really give us a setback that would require 15 feet back from the curb, as well as not being in the vision triangle. None of them appear to be in a way that's going to not meet ordinance, but that would be a requirement of approval to submit that all signs are going to meet that basic requirement of setback and not being in the vision triangle. I'd welcome any questions. Pretty straightforward with any sign application. There's just an awful lot of signs and in different locations.
Does anybody on the Plan Commission have any specific questions in reviewing the proposed 11 signs? Any specific questions for Mr. Drager about any specific sign that we could talk about?
No specific. Go ahead, Jill.
Sorry about that. I actually had a question about the sign at Rockwell. If we could go to that section.
I think that was right.
Yep. So that's a single face sign right at the front of the school building. And I actually went to Rockwell a couple weeks ago, and I was approaching it from Kramer, which I think could be, pretty typical of the neighborhood other than the street that's right in front of it. I was actually wondering if it wouldn't make more sense to have a double face sign on the corner, obviously outside of that vision triangle.
Mhm.
But it seems like if people are unfamiliar with the school coming from Kramer, you could drive right by it and not be able to identify it. And then could even perhaps put a wall sign near the main entrance, like several of the other schools and district office has.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I think that it's attractive and it's a unifying feature between the schools, but that particular sign and location just seemed a little minimal compared to the other locations.
Right. Yeah, I think we did not discuss with the applicant, additional signage for what they propose. This is the location of their, well, I don't know if even if it's standing, it was getting pretty rough. Their previous sign was in this location with the landscaping and kind of set up for it. You do raise good points, but they did not bring that up in their proposal, so we did not review, that location for an additional sign.
I was thinking not necessarily an additional two-post sign, but making this single-sided sign double-sided and locating it at the corner, diagonal to the two streets, so it could be seen from either direction.
You're referring to Kramer and Monroe, I'm imagine?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right, Kramer and Monroe.
And I don't know the intent for the school district, but I will just offer two things. One being, as Mr. Dreyer said, that is the current location of their sign, and they probably just are, looking to replace the current sign. And then the other item I'll just say is, if this is the front door, so to speak, they might want people to understand that this is the front door of the building, which is why the sign would be here and not on the corner. But those are just two kind of items for thought, I guess.
I wonder whether the identification of the school by an unfamiliar traveler on Kramer Street could be addressed by a wall sign on the north face and not necessarily a ground-mounted sign near the corner. Just following the train of thought.
And we could certainly, staff could certainly make that suggestion.
Sure,
We
yeah.
obviously can't require the school district to put in additional signs.
I understand.
But we certainly could offer that feedback when we contact them about the project.
Definitely.
Any other questions on specific onesie-twosie type of signs here?
I would point out staff did appreciate they were consistent across the district, which was nice to see.
Mhm.
Yes, there are, just looking at my Google Street View on my computer here, noticing that the current Rockwell sign is, green and yellow, and I don't think got updated with the last series of updates. So it is nice that all of the schools will have the same
Yeah,
type of sign.
yeah, very true. I wonder if that was once blue. The Roadrunner colors for Rockwell are blue and yellow, and I wonder if that was their colors at one time, and now they're going with a district,
They did.
uniformity, which is nice to see.
I have had occasion to access the district office for an inquiry about facility use, and being relatively new to Fort, I was confused because it's in the same structure as Luther, and I originally made the wrong decision, went to Luther's front entrance, but I don't think that necessarily that ambiguity for a newcomer need be addressed by any of these signs. I think it's more like, okay, you're approaching the one and only entry driveway. At that point, do you have guidance as to which is the school and which is the district
Mhm.
office? So that's not part of this submittal at all.
Fair point, though, yes.
I believe there is a wall sign that will be above the cornerstone that is by the main entrance to Luther, that is with an arrow that has district office to the left. So I think that would be
Sure.
helpful. And I've been in
Standard
that same boat,
Mhm.
so I appreciate that. Okay, so just to reiterate, staff is recommending approving all of these signs, but approving them individually because they are each a separate application and each in a separate location. But staff is recommending that each approval, as I'm scrolling back, that each approval be subject to the requirement that the applicant provide the proposed setback of all dual post signs at each location that are a minimum of 15 feet from the curb face and located outside of the public right-of-way, subject to approval of city staff. So they just have to prove that to us,
Yep.
to city staff, and then
They could use the current site plan and just provide those distances.
I heard Mr. Drager mention a specific condition that I'm interested in, which is outside the intersection site triangle, which is not necessarily linked to the public right of way, correct?
Correct. It is part of our ordinance, though, as well.
That's sufficient.
okay, so is there any discussion amongst the plan commission on these items? Okay, so it looks like we have several. I will process-wise, I will read the action item. And if a commissioner so desires, they can make a motion to approve that particular sign, subject to the requirement that the applicant provide the setbacks and that they are a minimum of 15 feet from the curb face and located outside of the right-of-way and vision triangle, subject to approval of city staff. So the first one is the review and possible action relating to a site plan review for the signage at the school district of Fort Atkinson office located at 201 Park Street. That is site plan review 2025-15.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Review and possible action relating to a site plan review for signage at Rockwell Elementary School located at 821 Monroe Street. This is site plan review 2025-12.
Move
So
approval.
moved.
Okay, Commissioner Schultz, will you take that as a second?
Yes, second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion by the Plan Commission? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries. Review and possible action relating to a site plan review for signage at Purdy Elementary School located at 719 South Main Street. This is site plan review 2025-13.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve, again, subject to the condition outlined in the staff report. Any additional discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Review and possible action relating to site plan review for signage at Fort Atkinson Middle School located at 310 South 4th Street East. Site plan review 2025-14.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion by the Plan Commission? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Review and possible action relating to a site plan review for signage at Berry Elementary School located at 1000 Harriet Street. Site plan review 2025-16.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Review and possible action relating to a site plan review for signage at Luther Elementary School located at 205 Park Street. Site plan review 2025-17.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion by the Plan Commission? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Review and possible action relating to a site plan review for signage at oh, we're done with the school district stuff. Okay. Back to D. My apologies there. Review and possible action relating to a site plan review for signage at Verizon at 1520 Madison Avenue. This is site plan review 2025-17. Mr. Drager.
Thank you. Yeah, this is on the small multi-tenant building next to Pick and Save. 1515 is the actual location address. The building has many addresses. 1515 is the one for this proposed, well, Verizon's already moved in there, but this proposed sign. 4 signs to be exact. One is the on-building sign, the one that everybody will notice. The other one is the tenant sign for the existing multi-tenant pylon sign out in front of Pick and Save. And then 2 window decals, which are small. They just provide a bit more information. It is the signage is meeting our ordinances. The Verizon used to have a store a couple windows down from this one, closer to Pick and Save. They moved out of there maybe 3 years ago. It might have been over 2020 during the pandemic. And now they are proposing a new store at this new location, as that other spot has been filled. I believe MBE was
CPA.
accountant firm that moved into the same location where Verizon used to be. So once again, it's meeting our ordinances, it's a permitted use. And I'd be welcome to any questions. It's a typical commercial sign, internally lit with their logo color, the Verizon, as you can see it there. It'll be above the entrance to the building. It's 25 square feet. The building facade is 23 feet in that section roughly. They are allowed 40 square feet per business, so they're well within the permitted size for that sign.
Any questions from the Plan Commission for Mr. Drager? I have one. Do we have a graphic showing the location? It just from this picture, it looks like it's not in line with the other signs on the facade. Do we know exactly where they're going to put it?
I would propose it would be in where they have it on this site here. The parapet and the facade out front there does have some elevation changes with its design, and it might make it a little bit difficult and look a little off if it were to be moved up in line with the rest in each of those locations.
Oh, I see, because the actual parapet is lower,
Correct.
right, for that tenant space versus the other tenant spaces.
I think the visualization also has a drop shadow that is sort of exaggerating the downward placement of the sign.
Good, yeah, yeah. Yeah, some of these overlay signs on there are difficult to tell, but in general, these buildings are designed for those signage, and it could be a little construed in the picture as well, designed for them to be along the same lines, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, if there's electrical already there, because there have been signs there in the
Mhm.
past, so, okay. All right, that's,
It is something fair to look at though, for sure. Yeah.
okay.
Especially in new building construction.
I note that this is along the same lines of the question I raised about the flex building in Clement Business Park, specificity about individual tenant sign locations on the Janesville facade.
Yep. Yes, it was.
All right, any further questions for Mr. Drager? All right, thank you, Mr. Drager.
Cool.
Any discussion on this item amongst the Plan Commission? It does look like staff has recommended approval of the sign package as proposed without any conditions. So I would entertain such a motion from a Plan Commission member.
So moved.
I will second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this matter? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Finally, we have an update on previous Plan Commission approved projects. I don't have anything prepared for this, but I'm happy to answer any questions from the Plan Commission on previously approved projects if anybody would like an update.
I can't think of anything today for me.
All of our Ridgeview Estates stuff is going well. We closed on the second lot, so it is now privately owned. That is the 8-unit or the 2 4-unit townhome buildings. And I believe a building permit has been issued for that project as well. So that's off and running. We've got new updates on our website relating to the Ridgeview Lofts, which is the multifamily, the 3-story multifamily building. They have footings and foundation and they're providing us with weekly updates. So we will provide a weekly update on our website. Just it's a static kind of flyer with a couple pictures and a couple updates from the developer. So we'll continue to provide those updates on our website.
Great.
I did have a question about the timeline for a future phase of that project, which is the Trillium extension and houses up the hill and on East Trillium, I'll call it.
We're currently in the design phase for the relocation of Banker Road. And that is scheduled for construction in 2027. So that is when Trillium will connect to the new location of Banker Road. The new location will connect Campus Drive to Horde Road, and also Marigold, the northern piece of Marigold will connect with that as well. And so 2027. All right, item number 4 is adjournment. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to
So-
adjourn.
Looks like we have a
I'll
motion. We have a motion and a second. Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 We are adjourned at 4:48 p.m. Thank you, everybody, for your time.